Hi, my name is Annamieka, and this is the Art Friends Show, where every conversation focuses on getting to know the essence of creativity itself. I'd love to invite you as well to join me inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics and join in with other art friends around the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to the show. Hey, hi, it's Mika Hobbs, aka Annamieka, and I'm an artist in Portland, Oregon. I'm doing a 100-day project where we have an art friend interview every day. And I'm an artist in Portland, Oregon. There, I needed to mute you as well, Corinna. So today we are going to have a guest who is an artist also in Portland. And what's super fun and exciting is that she and I have never met. We've flirted on Instagram for a couple years, but she reached out to me. She said, "Hey, do you have a guest today?" And I said, "No." And here we are. So we're gonna get to know each other during this chat. And I'm going to invite her in to join us now. And so let me see. There you are. I found you. So let me see how to ask you to actually join it. Do you see a button to say request to join there, Corinna? Sometimes there's a bit of a delay on the live stream. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to invite her. So she should be coming on now. And this is Corinna Buchholz, and her business name is Piddix. Welcome. Hi, there you are. Hello. We're right across the river from each other on a snowy, slushy day. So this is really fun. Thank you so much for coming.
We come over near you to walk our dog at the water park down there. The dog park is pretty awesome.
What kind of dog do you have?
She is scratching at my door. She's a 50-pound Texas rescue mutt.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
So.
Cool. Yeah, that river beach is actually pretty much why I moved to this neighborhood, because the dog loved it. And then, once I had a child, I was constantly driving down here for the epic dog walk and playground. And then my husband at the time and I said, well, let's live exactly where it's best for both these little ones. And I feel like I could live here in Selwood for the rest of my days. It's a great place to be based.
It's nice. I like that neighborhood.
Yeah, you live in a beautiful part of Portland too, in Hillsdale. I love that.
Too. It's we moved here for schools.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this good couple of good schools over here. So
good. We could chat about schools maybe later.
Oh, that's true. But you're getting close to that.
Yeah, you're about a decade ahead of me on the age of our kids. So without further ado, your company is called Piddix, and you have been a full-time artist paying bills with many different art things for 16 years. I'd love to just ask you to share a bit about some of your revenue streams for those of us who are curious how you've made it work, and then we'll go from there.
Yay! Let's see. I started when my oldest son, who just turned 16, I was working at the Rebuilding Center, if you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there for 6 or 7 years. It's a nonprofit building reuse center, and I went on maternity leave with my oldest son, and was bored. And so I was like, oh, I'll sell on this random thing called Etsy that just started.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Wow. Those were the days. Yeah.
And I was like seller number 45,000 or something, like 45,739.
Wow.
Was my number. And I think I sold some hats on there and some jewelry. And then I was like, I don't like shipping. And so one day I had scanned, I like old stuff. So I had scanned some photos I had gotten at an estate sale that they were going to throw away. And I put it online as a digital download. And there were 4 people selling digital downloads on Etsy at the time. And so I was like, oh, well, this is a thing. And then I walked our last dog, and I don't know, by the time I got back, it had sold. And I was like, well, this is exciting.
Yeah.
So I sold digital collage sheets, and I was one of the top 10 handmade sellers on Etsy for about 4 or 5 years.
Awesome. So they were like printables? Like
basically, I'm trying to think if I have any examples, but like imagine like an 8.5 by 11-inch sheet of circles.
Yeah.
And you'd buy it for like $3. And then if you were making Scrabble tiles, like these would all be like 70 Santa faces.
Oh, wow.
From vintage stuff. All on
cool.
one sheet, and for $3 you could download it, and then you print it at home, and then you cut it out, and it was like you knew it was safe for copyright, and it was already sized, and the coloring was already done, and it was $3.
You are a genius. This sounds so awesome. And what a time to get in on that at the beginning of Etsy, before everybody and their grandma were selling downloads. That's amazing.
That's the trick with I guess anything. You're always like, ooh, can I be the first on Pinterest or TikTok or whatever it is? So sometimes you get lucky with some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Cool. What other you mentioned, so before this interview, we meet in the Zoom room and chat a little bit to prepare. And you said, I make all my money on Santas and birds, but I have to do other stuff to keep myself going. So can you tell me a little bit about that in your art making?
So back, 16 years ago, there's probably 20 things I've done. So Etsy, selling prints, selling on like flash sales, and then the big one, so I used to say it was like a shotgun. I was like, I'll try anything. I'll try a membership. I'll try this. I'll try this.
Yeah.
And I was like, if somebody could just, especially when I first started, like if somebody could just tell me, like, pick this one thing, like, please, somebody, like, that's what I was like, that's all I need and I'll do it.
Right.
And then I figured it out, like, but it took 10 years and I was like, this is it. And so the big thing I do is licensing. So that's the bread and butter. I have an awesome agent. I've been with her 12 years now. And so, yeah, I travel around the country with a scanner, and I go to different archives and I scan vintage imagery, and then I check it for copyright. There's a good like law firm in town, SBA does some good stuff, Small Business Association. And then I take the birds and the Santas are the ones that that pay the bills.
Wow.
And then and then I need something to not go crazy, because birds and Santas are awesome, but sometimes I just need to mess around with stuff. So yeah, that was my question when you were like, do you have any question? I was like, how do I make this strip?
Yeah.
So I'm not both of my kids draw way better than me. I can't like draw a face and make it look like a face. But I can like play. So I'm just playing with, I have to play with other things instead of just like restoring Santas pixel by pixel and making them look not drawn from the 50s.
And can we, for a moment, like, can I hug and hold what you just said on behalf of everyone who's ever said, well, I can't draw, so how could I possibly be, like, here you are supporting, you're working full-time as an artist for 16 years and telling me, my kids draw perhaps faces better than me or whatever, right? Like, wow. So, and I didn't hear you discounting yourself as an artist or anything, but as a human and art teacher for so long, I've heard that be like a stopping point for so many people. So thanks for letting me just kind of like hold that up. Like, however we create, there's ways to utilize that, and you're innovating. And so right now you're wanting to figure out how to make better drippies with watercolor.
Yes, I am. How I found you originally is I went on a watercolor retreat with Mady and Faith.
That's so, okay. I was literally just texting with Mady and Lily this morning, and I was like, does anyone want to come on my roommate? Really? Oh,
yes.
Oh my God, I love, okay, I know how much fun you had. I love her. Okay, so please tell me about your watercolor. I love Faith. Oh.
No, they're all awesome.
So lovely. Yeah.
So I went on this retreat for fun, and there was like 12 of us, and like we'd all make these like sunsets and flowers, and like mine were always like, and I don't mean this to sound like, oh, please tell me I'm good, but like mine were the worst, like 100%, like not a question, the worst. But I was so happy just like messing around, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna put this on here, let's try this. And like we even tried like, let's stick some clay on there. I was like, no, that looks horrible. So I messed around.
Cool. Yeah.
And some of the ones I brought back have been licensed. So I'm like it's like, I mean, that's part of the thing is like there were people, like every single person there, like whether they worked at like a supermarket or were an artist or like came because their sister, you know, wanted them to come and they had never painted before, like they were all way better like at making it look right.
Mm-hmm.
And so my like super weird like splotchy things, I'm like, so there's a lot of it that's having an agent or just putting it out there.
You know how to get it out there. I'm like, dude, that's the sauce. That's so cool. Yeah, even if it doesn't look like the perfect thing you were learning how to create or whatever. Do you want to experiment with drippies a bit? Okay.
Yes.
Let me look at my notes here. Do you have anything you'd like to invite people in on our project? I'm gonna then put away my like interviewer notebook and grab my watercolor paper and you can play. So away the notes.
All right. I'm in the the Make Arts That Sells class. I'm in the home decor one. So I'm trying to make
cool. Like, with Lila?
Yeah, with colors and stuff. So I'm trying to make something work. So yeah, anybody, that's my request. If anybody knows how to make watercolor drippies, find me and like send me a message or like Skillshare or something.
Yeah. So first of all, what type of watercolors do you have?
All right. I have like 47 million, and most the ones I'm using right now are from scrap.
Okay,
so
cool.
These are like cheapies.
Yes.
And then I also got I've got some like little tiny expensive ones that I got. I've Been Framed. You know them?
I do. Oh my gosh. Do you know both of the local? That's so amazing. For those of you who are just joining, we're both Portland, Oregon artists, but we're just meeting in this conversation. And so we are about to figure out how to make better, like more pigmented, I assume, watercolor drippies. My guest is a licensing artist and has tried 20 different revenue streams over 16 years professionally. And we're kind of also crowdsourcing. If you know how to make really good drippies, let us know. One question I wanted to ask you, because as I asked what watercolors are you using, it looks like both of us are using kind of the type that are in a binder so that they're able to become solid and live in a little travel kit. But, you know, there are other watercolors that actually come in like a dropper. Do you have any of those type?
No, I don't have any of those.
Do you know about those?
Like in a tube or like more like ink?
Like ink.
No, I think Lily has some.
Yes. Okay, cool. I always love it when like we don't know it exists on planet Earth, but then you do. So watercolor, right, just like any paint, it's just like pigment in a binder. And they actually make it where it's liquid. I think I have.
Be all drippy.
Like, I don't know if I have. I don't personally have that type of watercolor, but I know you can get it. And so that might be a place to check it out. It's kind of like, these are acrylic inks, right? These are not watercolors.
Okay.
But they make like this, but watercolor. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I need to go. So I've been framed as trades. Have you ever? So I have a bunch of stuff I need to bring them. And
that's amazing. For like old unused supplies and stuff.
Yeah. Like, you know, when you start that project and you're like, why do I have this in my corner still? I need to get rid of it. If you bring it in, they'll give you credit, and then you get credit at the store.
Oh my God. I know. So I haven't been there in a while. I used to live like walking distance from it. And when I first started my studio in 2013, I was like teaching a lot. I was, you know, and providing all their supplies, and they saved my booty because they would have like, they would buy out people's studios or buy out their old supplies, and then you could buy 10 of something for super cheap. But I didn't realize that I could just build up store credit there. Oh, I do that at like Artifact, the vintage thrift shop on Division. Do you know about it?
No.
Okay, so these are my go-tos. So Artifact is And also the Village Merchants.
Okay.
They're two thrift shops, and they're just maybe like 5 or 6 blocks apart on Division. And they both take your stuff. They'll buy your stuff from you, and they'll give you trade credit or cash, but I always get trade. And then you have like then you can get your stuff there.
Oh, that's
your home goods stuff. I got my kitchen couch at Artifact. I'm getting a little distracted from our watercolor, but this.
Oh, nice.
Like I like bought it with like other stuff. When I was moving. Okay, shall we attempt drippies?
Okay, drippies. Okay. Yes. So what I do right now is like I put color on the top with water, and then I like shake it and shake it and shake it, and I can't get it to come like get stuck. So that's
okay.
See, like here's a sad attempt at drippies. It just kind of like keeps going down.
Yeah, so it's really kind of bleeding. Like it's kind of like soaking into the paper.
Yes, it like stops on the paper and it doesn't go any more.
Yeah.
More down.
So a couple of other ideas. I love brainstorming this stuff. Do you have like a spritzer?
Yes.
A sprayer?
Downstairs.
Okay.
Yep.
Got that. Okay. I feel like it's wanting to have like more densely concentrated pigment already in the like before you attempt to have it drip. Maybe.
All right. So here's like paper with water, and then I go, come down, and then I shake it, and it just kind of like, it won't, let's see. Here, I'll get a bunch on there.
Are you wanting it to look like distinct drips, like lines?
Yes. It's like 3 crazy lines coming down.
Okay. So let's not get the paper wet. Let's start with dry paper. We have a different piece of paper. And let's make you like a dense little pot of watercolor. So with your color, do you have I don't know, like a bottle cap or some sort of small vessel? I'm gonna go dig in my recycling.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this will work. Okay.
All right.
Okay, cool. So let's put a small amount of water into it. Oops, that's my drinking water. Classic. You would think this would help because it definitely doesn't look. But, okay, here we go. And let's, like, not a ton. I'm just doing like maybe a tablespoon of water.
Okay. And
then let's just really dig into the color. And of all your watercolors, which one's the best quality?
This little guy that I got from my bin frame. I think this one.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna give us the most pigment. Okay. Like kind of why, why cheap paints are cheaper is they're often either lower quality pigments themselves or just kind of more binder, like not as much color per. It's not like a blanket rule, as you know. And I'm saying this, of course, for other people who are learning. But so yeah, just kind of get like the like richest one, and we're gonna try to make a mix that's pretty pigmented, and then just use that to carry itself as drips.
All right.
So I'm gonna dig into a blue color as well over here on my palette. Maybe I'll switch this. You can see. I don't know if that's gonna work for people here, because I still kind of want to see you. Nice. I guess I can see you on the Zoom. Okay, so I'm gonna just really get a lot of pigment. Maybe this is even too much water. Even less water.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got a good.
Let me see
here.
Somebody
says try it on dry paper.
Yay.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do. Yay. I'm glad that the Ask the Audience is in agreement.
I'll show you what I do and then what happens, what goes wrong. So I go like this, and then it's like, just kind of sits there. And I'm like, come down.
Okay.
Like all like,
yeah, I'm
sad and weird.
So is it dripping too fast? Do you want it to just be more saturated with color the whole time it drips?
I want it to drip straight down.
Straight down. Okay.
And not get stopped.
Mm-hmm.
See?
What about
it likes a little here, let me put something on my carpet for all the drips. Okay. It keeps going down the same.
Oh, it follows its own little rivulet.
Yep.
Yeah. So give it another little path. Just kind of, yeah. And then blow on it gently. Don't shake. Maybe don't shake.
No
don't
shaking.
Shake. Yeah.
Maybe a hair dryer, somebody says. Okay.
Oh, hair dryer. I've found that not this one with the wide mist, but with a more directed mist.
Mm-hmm.
But try blow. Do you have a straw?
Probably.
Let's try a straw. I'm gonna go get a straw.
All right. I'm gonna blow while she's gone. See what happens. Type of paper will also matter. Some are more absorbent than others. Okay, that was my question too. Is like, should I go with the cheap paper or the like super thick watercolor? Because I was wondering if like the super watercolor just like sucks it up.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't keep going down.
Well, and I'm not a watercolor expert, but cold pressed paper might be different than hot press. Let me see right now, because they have a different surface texture. This one is cold pressed that I have, and it's really like absorbent. And I think hot press has a little bit slicker finish. Let me see if I have any over here.
Paper will absorb it more. Oh. All right.
What did they say?
They said cheap paper will absorb more. I thought it'd be the opposite. Okay, so here's one.
Honestly, I think like each type of paper, much like each tube of paint, has a personality, and it's a bit of trial and error. Ruth Armitage says, Arches, hi Ruth, has a nice sizing that helps it stay on the surface a bit more. So yeah, let's see.
I don't know what sizing is. Is that, I'm guessing that's
it's like
painting term?
Yeah. So sizing is a application of some kind of preparatory solution or chemical to help the paper be ready to paint on. So I don't know exactly what it's made out of, but I think of sizing as almost like a clear liquid applied during paper making process to make it ready to rock. Yeah. This is fun. Watercolor and working on paper are definitely not my norm.
Do you ever go to the bins?
Never. No.
It takes a certain type of person to like the bins.
Yeah,
paper like, okay.
Do you go?
Oh yeah, I go all the time, and I get paper because it's by the pound. So if like somebody is like, really, really expensive watercolor paper in a pad, you can get it for like $1 because it's all by the pound. So I have a really, for the stuff that I'm just messing around with and playing with.
Yeah.
All right, it's starting to do something.
Let's see.
This is
Look at that.
Okay, so whoever said to use the kind of nicer, thicker paper, it's doing something. So that might be.
Yeah. Do you have did you find a straw?
I did not go look for a straw.
Okay.
But here, give me a second. I will go grab a straw.
Because I wonder if you can just be really directive with it. And also, if you don't have to move it around, like if you have it kind of right in front of you and you can really control it.
Okay. Here, somebody said, I don't know if you caught my comment. So, I've never done this before. Now I'm looking at all the comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't been looking at most of the comments. It's a lot. Thank you for commenting.
Hair dryer. Type of paper. Pigment will always go where there's water and not beyond, except for blowing. Cheaper paper absorbs more. Add water where you want the color and then draw the pigment down into a drip.
Ooh, like a thin line of, Ooh, I wonder if you could use like a really thin liner brush and you know, kind of score it with wet so that it follows that.
Like
or even
exactly
if you
where
want
I want it to be.
Do you want it stick straight or a little bit organic?
A little bit organic. I'll tell you. So what I'm trying to do, have you played with AI stuff at all?
No.
So I know it's a big issue in a lot of the world, but over Christmas, oh look, it's working. Okay, I drew.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
It's following the little drip.
Look at that! It's following where you want it to go.
There it goes.
That's so exciting. And then
exciting.
You can stop it. You can always stop it.
Yeah, like get rid of the water and say like that's enough.
Yeah, or you can just put it down flat so it can't flow anymore. Or I guess it would still wick across the water. Oh, this is
again, kind of making it go back now.
There you go.
Oh,
that's exactly.
Oh, yay! Okay, so I used
breakthrough
a little tiny brush and kind of I was like, this is where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Pigment and water. Let's see. Hot press. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that works.
Oh my God, you figured it out. Do you want to do another one? And just kind of summarize what you've learned.
Okay. That's so cool. Here's
so cool.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the first sad one that was. Oh, Nicole's on, and she's got. She is the watercolor queen too. So probably.
Oh, fabulous!
I'm trying to make the drip, and these are the sad ones from putting water on the top and then like, kind of just shaking it.
Okay. They weren't doing what you wanted.
And it's a thinner, like a flatter paper.
Okay.
So, and then I went with like kind of a rougher, thicker watercolor paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big breakthrough was taking the little brush and kind of saying, I want you to go there.
The guideline, literally a guideline.
And then taking the dark water and seeing if I can make it there. See?
Yay! That's amazing! And for anyone just joining, we also made a more pigmented mixture so that we weren't just relying on the paint on the paper to do the drip. We were actually kind of creating the drip, like the value or the relative light or darkness of the paint itself so that it could have like that bold, dark blue drip line. This is so exciting. I'm so happy you figured out how to do drippies.
We were talking about like not being able to draw. That was my first, like I made a pattern. I was like, okay, I figured out splotches and I figured out like I was like, okay, you have to do this and this and this. So that's like my level of comfort. I was like, I can make dots, but I haven't figured out drips yet. So now I've got drips.
I'm so happy you figured out drips. That is wonderful, Corinna. Oh my God. Yay.
Thank you all for your help.
Yeah, this was so fun. This is the miracle of hanging out with other artists, right? We all help each other out. And I'm so excited. Now I want to go do some drippies in acrylic on the painting that I'm going to work on this afternoon. You're inspiring me. Those feel like so, oh my gosh. Back in the day, I took Flora's class.
She's big on drips.
Yeah. And I was not into drips before that. And I feel like it was like the drippy epiphany. And then I saw it in like Kelly Ray's work. Mm-hmm. And like, I just thought like, it's like once you know the drip, once you see them like everywhere, but there's such an amazing kind of alchemy of uncontrolled movement of paint. I love like ways of moving paint that aren't necessarily drawing or hand painting, like different, scraping, or I've been into puddling paint,
mm-hmm. Mark making,
so,
smashing things.
Yeah, exactly.
You would think that drips would be, because of that, you think drips would be easier to make because it seems so organic and natural, but I'm like, this is not working.
There is such an art to drippies, and as we learn, drippies, it depends on the surface texture and the sizing on your paper, meaning like the different glue or compounds that are on the paper and how absorbent it is and what it's like for the paint to roll across. And it depends on the quality of your paint and how much pigment is there to flow and how you're able to control it or guide it or whatever. So yeah, it's so cool. Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything you'd like to invite people into your world about? You know, do you do classes, or do you have an email list, or are you really excited about a certain thing you're about to launch, or stuff like that?
Just kind of keeping on keeping on.
Yeah.
I'm in a good groove.
Cool.
So if anybody has questions about other things, copyright, old images, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I remember talking to my agent long ago, and she's like, she said this, she's like, I'd rather pay for my kids' college than be, front and center everywhere with my face. So I was like, yes, that sounds brilliant. So I know there's a ton of good things that come from having like high Instagram followers and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not there at the moment. I'm just kind of doing my thing. And
yeah.
So.
Do you feel like you're in a place that you like? Is there anything when you're saying that, you're saying like, I suppose what I'm hearing is you found a sustainable success over 16 years, and you don't have your face all over the place, but you're like licensing and have this really dialed in multifaceted art practice. Does that feel like how is your world as an artist? Does it feel like you've arrived and you're in a good groove? Is there anything you're kind of reaching towards or do desire?
I feel really good. Mm-hmm. I spent like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, maybe 10 years. Like, so my schedule was like, 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. schedule. Because like once the kids are asleep, then you work all the time, and you're like putting in your 10,000 hours, and you're trying everything. You're like, I'm gonna try Etsy, I'm gonna try printing things, I'm gonna make bracelets and sell them at a craft fair because maybe that'll be it. And then you're just like trying and trying and trying. And then then the 10 years paid off. So I don't know if there's a I'm sure there's shortcuts.
No, I think every one of us, we have our equivalent of that. I feel like I'm in that right now. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this professionally, like in this particular way for 10 years, but I've been teaching since forever.
Does it feel I went to good?
Well, but what I'm saying is I actually feel like I'm still in my 10,000 hours. I'm in this new era of like, what's going to work right now?
Yeah.
Having gone through a divorce in the last year, and like, I've been supporting myself and running a business, but I mean, my partner was also making, 6 figures, and like that, it's a very different reality being completely self-sustaining and looking towards retirement and raising my kid in her college and everything. And I'm like, I have so much to give and share. This feels like innately the place. Doesn't make sense for me to do a career pivot right now, but like, I actually don't feel like I have it all figured out. Like there's something greater that I want to step into, and I'm hungry for it. And I'm doing the waking up at 5 a.m. and working and, like trying to make it happen. So
hustling.
Yeah, I'm hustling because right now, like it's like whatever is coming next is being born. Like, and so this project seems to be, it's like, it's definitely already feeling like it's creating so much momentum. And so I'm starting to get that feeling of like, ooh, what's going to happen next? And you may remember that from your hustle time. Because I know the first 5 years or so of my career felt like that, where it was just like amazing synchronicity after another. And I'm like, suddenly I'm in New York painting with like people I admire and, getting the gigs and this. And then I kind of like found a thing, and then I've been mostly mentoring, and then my life kind of went into like birthing a baby and the pandemic and a divorce, and suddenly I'm like, where'd those 4 years go?
Yeah.
And so what fits now? So it's really cool to hear your perspective, and I definitely want you to come on again. Can I share what you offered, because it was so sweet?
Oh yeah, sure. I was gonna say, if you need me at 11 o'clock.
Exactly. So y'all, she messaged me and she said, hey, I just want you to know I want to support you in this project, and I'm a night owl, and to keep up your 100 days and not break the streak. If you ever find yourself needing a guest at 11 p.m., just give me a ring. And I was like really touched by that. That I feel really seen. Like, you understand it's quite an endeavor to try to do an interview every day, and making yourself available and being willing to do it.
It makes a huge difference. Like, you're just starting. I did one 100-day project, and it was 100-day of rejection.
Of what?
Rejections.
Oh, wow.
I had these little printed collage sheets I wanted to sell. And I had to get them in stores, so I had to call people and send cold emails, and it was terrifying.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And I did it, and at the end I was like, now I can call people, and it's like not a big deal. So that's what I can't wait to see what happens at the end and during and day 30 and day 60 and all those things. For me? Yes.
Oh, thank you. Well, the idea of putting yourself out there for rejection 100 days in a row, like, did it work?
Yeah, it worked. I got over my fear of talking to people, and I got a ton of the thing that I was trying to sell got into all the right places, like some amazing folks and all that kind of. It worked. It totally worked.
That's amazing. Wow.
It's
cool.
I think a lot of us are terrified to ask people, be like, hey, I want to sell this here, or do you want to put, so somebody asked, what does it mean to do licensing? Mm-hmm. And so, like, if I take, here, let me grab some weird random thing here. So I'll take this random image that I made. Mm-hmm. And I will send it to a company. Actually, you can kind of see behind me. So I'll take the image and I send it to in my case, my agent, or you can send it directly to a company. And I know you've done licensing too.
A little bit, but it absolutely thrills me. It's so exciting to see it reproduced. I would love to. Because
then you get to go into a store. So you take your art, you send it to the company, and they basically rent it. Let's say, like, they might rent it for a year for greeting cards in the United States, and they give you money, and then you still have the image, you still have the copyright, and they basically paid, and then you get, let's say, 5% of each sale or each gross sale. So, like, behind me, there's greeting cards that are licensed. This one was like a piece of fabric art. I think that one's a framed one through a company called Raz.
Amazing.
So that's most of my, it's a lot of home decor is what I do.
So
that's
cool.
My big thing right now.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining it in a nutshell. And I see one more question. It says, does it mean finding non-licensed images? So at the beginning of Corinna's interview, she shared that one of her origins of her art business was finding vintage images that are no longer in copyright. Yep. So, every year a new sort of like year of history is released when copyrights expire. That's kind of really oversimplifying it. But you have a skill as an archivist, and so you'll go through the archives and you'll take these images and then you'll make them available for many different uses, likely, and probably more than we can get into in this interview. But that's one facet of your licensing business, which is finding old images and repurposing them. And then the other aspect is creating your own original artwork and licensing it for use or renting it out to companies.
It's almost all vintage. The do-it-yourself stuff is just keeping me sane. Just fun things to make me happy, to put on some music and paint things. And it's tricky and awesome. It's hard to do, which means it's hard for other folks to do because you have to research worldwide copyright. Like, I just had one where somebody wanted to use the fabric, Narita Hansen fabric. They wanted to license, she's in Australia. So, and the artist lived in the United States, but from like Romania or something. I don't know. There was like 10 different layers of where the artist was from, where it was going to be sold, where, So it's fun for me. That's what I always say. Like, whenever I go to a new city, I go to the archives and the libraries.
Yeah.
And for somebody that would be horrific. Like that would be like the worst vacation ever. And I'm like super happy. So like if you can find the thing that you do when you go on vacation, you're like, well, on vacation, I go to like botanical gardens or whatever. Like that would be super not my thing. But for somebody else, they want to paint flowers. And
I do that.
Right?
I studied botany. I love plants. And I love talking to people. When I go on vacation, I make like 10 new friends. So some aspect of my art career needs to just be talking to people, you know,
there you go.
Professionally. Yeah. But I love that you have that skill. And then I always think of us all like in this community, like what do we contribute, you know, as to the collective like zeitgeist of art making right now in 2023. And like you're able to get like repurpose all these images, give them new life, and then they can be born
of them. Like I'll go to an archive and they'll pull out this box that's like super like dusty and falling apart, and you look at the little tag and it hasn't been checked out since like 1943. You're like, nobody has looked in this box in almost 100 years. And then you open it up and then inside there's just like these little like lithographs that were like hand printed, like, you know, 100 years before that. So for me, that like I love the treasures.
I have a friend who works at the Oregon Historical Society. I mean, you may know each other because it's such a small town, but it sounds like that I want to put you in touch. I've been asking for like vintage swimmers or vintage diving imagery. You'll start to hopefully see it come out in my paintings soon. Okay, my dear, let's wrap up this interview. I'll see you back in the Zoom room to debrief a little bit. And for those of you who are listening now or in the future, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to the Art Friends Show. My name is Mika. I also go by Annamieka. I live in Portland, Oregon. This is Corinna. I'm so sorry, but I need to actually look.
Corinna's good.
Corinna Buchholz. We just met. We just met here on the show, but we actually live across the river from each other in Portland, Oregon. So thank you, Corinna.
Yes, thank you. Thanks everybody who was watching too.
All right. And if you want to come on the show and you're an artist, you can book at the link in my profile. See you tomorrow. Bye. Hi. I'd love to have you inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics. Follow the link that's in the show notes or find it on my website at annamieka.com.